Welcome to Case 3, or Episode 3. Adventure of the Runaway Room, whatever that is. The Adventure of the Runaway Room, Episode 3.
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner.
Horrendous manner.
My friend, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, said of the incident. I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude. The beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to
In
play
the,
together.
like, Ace Attorney's tourney, both games, or just the game? Platform number 7.
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Both games, okay. I see.
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
And look at all the steam locomotives.
It bugs me that she doesn't sound Japanese.
This country is incredible.
Just a little bit.
I feel like I'm dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court in Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure. I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay. And welcome to the centre of the world, Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
London. Alright. The final case, and the case before that, and the case before that are the best ones. So there's gonna be some side of climax. What an incredible place. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. The place is breathtaking. It looks like a fortress. There are stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course. But they've only been built in a few short decades since we opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this has quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? Far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from. It's certainly unfamiliar. But I think there's more to the differences than just construction materials. What is this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice's office. Noda in the Supreme Court of Great Britain. The Lord Chief Justice. We had instructions to report here at this time, if circumstances were different. We were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. But Kazuma can't. No. So instead, we are here in a different capacity. As envoys, to report the news of Kazuma-sama's death. Having delivered his or her message, the envoy's duty is done. So, we'd have to return to Japan. You want to remain here in Great Britain? I have to take Kazuma's place as the law student selected for the study tour. Yes, which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer. Which is what I've been studying for. Here in Great Britain, it's a Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers. So that's the second reason why we're here. To have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way we'll be able to remain here in London. I hope I'm up to scratch. Ah, good morning. Sorry for keeping you. I trust you aren't too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan. It seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh no, don't mention it. We're never happy that we were standing around with nothing much to do. How fortunate. So, introductions. I am Mael Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. Oh, and I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Come on, Mr. Naruhodo, don't be a mouse. Oh, it's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Urunosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Damn, that's interesting. Damn. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Help. I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city. It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh. We had a wonderful view of some London streets from our carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say, I'm almost lost for words. Susato with the save! I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts tramways, piped water and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded. Oh yes, astounded is the word. Thanks for saving me there, Susato-san. And everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. Yes, there's much excitement about the upcoming Great Exhibition we'll be hosting here in London. Great Exhibition. Cultural and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It will be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history, and will mark Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop. Gosh, I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. Great Britain capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world. Even if you do say so yourself, the sun will never set on our great empire. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times we welcome visitors to the land of the rising sun. I zoomed out. Lord Chief Justice. I think you were expecting a student of law for this study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. Mr. Kazuma Asogi, if my memory serves. That's right. The British government has already been telegraphed a full report of the situation. I understand that the young man lost his life aboard the steamship bound for our shores. That's amazing. The news reached him before we even arrived. My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And your honored disappointment specifically to inform me of the news? Yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese are a people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that it is true. And it's with some regret that I must inform you that the death of the young lawyer means the study tour arrangements can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Lord Strongheart. What do you have to say, madame? Yeah, imagine looking at my face. This completely rugged, handsome, Pikachu-cheeked face. It's rosacea. Mr. Naruhodo here would make a proposal. Would he now? Well, Naruhodo, this is it then. The moment of truth. The thing is, Lord Justice, or Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider allowing the study tour to go ahead. Don't misunderstand me. Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead. But without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else? Another lawyer from Japan, I mean. Gee, Shiro. Ass. Is there something I don't know? Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country, and that was Mr. Asogi, at least. That's what I've been led to understand. Well, the thing is, Lord Shiro wasn't so hot himself. I mean, what? This really isn't going to end well. I just can't seem to find the right words to say to this man. Mr. Naruhodo, I could ruin things here if I'm not careful. What am I going to say? If there is someone else here from Japan who could be described as a lawyer, it's... That'd be so funny to say. It's me. It's me. I can do it. Is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but no qualifications, you say, and yet you still claim to be a lawyer? I have acted as a lawyer in court before. Only once, as it happens. And I had Kazuma to help me, and I was the accused. But glossing over the details. I've been spending every spare moment on the journey here to Great Britain studying. I've learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Buria. The voyage from Japan is some 50 days, I believe, not that you might call it full education. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I realize it's far too short a period of time. But, I can't just go back to Japan. Kazuma, Mr. Asogi's journey had only just begun. Coming here on a study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on and do everything he planned to do. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I would do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to set me. Just one chance, that's all I'm asking for. Please. 31 seconds. Sorry. Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo. It was 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted. A perfectly judged appeal, I would say. Which is a skill I would stand you good stead as a lawyer. Oh, thanks. So, you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. But let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes. You said you intend to do everything Mr. Asogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Well, yes, that's my intention. I see. I'm ugly and I know it. Dude, both of us need some self-confidence pills here, man. I like it when my chin hair is this short. It's nice. Feels good. Looks good. Blends in nicely. I hate it when it gets longer than this, though. Any longer, it's like... ugh. Or did this expression just alter a fraction there of all of a sudden? Didn't work. Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Really? So, what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Naruhodo, what do you consider the role of the lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said. So, let's have you defend someone. Ah. I'm fucking beautiful. Also, hey, Izzy. Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an apt trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense yet, so this will be welcome news. Today. Straight away. If you manage to secure a verdict of not guilty, you'll have passed my test. What could be simpler? How do I get myself into these situations? Well, could I ask, what sort of trial is it, Lord Strongheart? Yes, good question. I remember. Yeah, I did have a happy day. So, it was like the Yeah, this music really blends in. Uh, it was the final day of classes, and at this time of year, kids go up 1 year. Normally in like Canada, they go up 1 year in September, right? Or they finish school in June. This is their switch time. It's actually right now to like April they go up. So with that being said, some of the kids graduated, and the short time I got to know them, they gave me a really nice thank you, and that's all I'll say. I don't want to give the specifics because I'm bound by oath of secrecy, right? But it was just really nice. Other than that, yeah, pretty cool. It was very wholesome. I went like, you know, it was really nice. I feel like Camp Feed is distinct with the audio a little bit. It might. I can restart the program here. Let me a second. Test. Mic. Test. Test. Might be a little better. It might just naturally do this. It's a murder trial. A murder. Epic mic test. An extremely simple case, I understand. You really can't lose. That's easy to say. Just, you know, say the words refresh, Shiro, if you didn't want me to refresh that again. But I should mention, just in this case, if the defendant is found guilty, he will, of course, be sentenced to capital punishment. Ooh, his life's on the line, too. He'll be put to death. Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably you read that much in your short C-based introduction to British law. We can't possibly agree to such a test. We would be toying with a man's life. I am the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided it's acceptable. But you can't do that, can you? There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. Ooh, the pressure. The defendant may live or die, depending on how well I perform in court. If I lose, he'll be hanged. Mr. Naruhodo, you come to me claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you're willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. He's testing my resolve. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. Also, Izzy, I got a new figure. This one's awesome. ReZero. Echidna. Filter, let me see if I can... Normally there's a way to prioritize... Yeah, priority frame rate, that's all we can do. But time is pressing, the trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. I don't know you liked ReZero so much. I actually really do. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be? The last season really kind of brought the series up to me. What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? I will do it. Alright then. That one took me $12 to get out of the machine. I can't do it. I can't get the words out. 15 seconds. Huh. Your decision-making needs work if you want to be a lawyer. That was too slow. So, it's as I suspected, is it? Sorry. You have noble intentions, but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled. Thank you for stopping by. Good God! Go and acquire your ticket for passage back to East tomorrow. This conversation is over. Yes, Lord Strongheart. Thank you for offering me a chance. Mr. Naruhodo, I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but what could I do? It's all right. I understand. You do. It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, but resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. Oh, what are you trying to say, madame? I think what Miss Sasato means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at a trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel exactly the same way. She just... I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his or her clients in court day after day, but for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand on the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do that job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. Heavy breathing. Wait, Naruhodo. Oh, was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be there in time. But I just said that. I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for them. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He will receive the most severe sentence a judge can pass down. But that's awful. But that's the truth. Why does it have to be like this? Please don't expect me to answer every question. The cold, hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that's you. I'm really his only hope. So, what do you say now, madame? Me? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances. And I agree. But in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. Oh. Our time is up here. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. He's gone. The Old Bailey. If we're going to do this, Naruhodo, we must leave at once. No time to talk, just fucking go. February 18th, 9:45 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. Oh, thank goodness, we're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. It's one of my favorite lines from the Herlock Sholmes stories, and it worked quite perfectly. I'm not sure why you're so pleased. I thought they were going to die and we had to pay gold for the privilege. I saw that comment while I was going through. Now I'm excited to see the client. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yes, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here, but there's no sign of him at all. So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room for defendants to wait in is grand. Are you alright, Naruhodo? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever's about to be sentenced. It feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man you're to defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning to you, madame, sir. What are you guys doing following me here? Things are fair desperate, are they? I don't know how to do this guy's accent. Sorry. Would you look at those expressionless faces from the east, I use? We're from Japan, yes. Ah, Japan, is it? Right, say no more. So, how much do you need? No, we're just here because... He's Irish. I can't do Irish. No need to explain, fella. I've been there myself, so I have. No place to go, nothing to eat, barely a penny to your name. That's my Irish. And all while a strange faraway land. Well, actually, we have yet to found a place to stay yet, no? 'Tis grand, 'tis grand. Let's start by giving you 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. Huh. 1,000 guineas? Please, Mrs. Sato, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? 'Tis nothing to me at all. It's like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. I have enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. Could that much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. Ah, that hit me in the eye. Yeah, I felt that coming at me in 3D, man. Don't worry, don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving you to no strings attached. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. Oh, to be honest, 'tis a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, it's for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is, don't worry about a thing. All you have to do is stand up there next to me. None more. Otherwise, you see, the trial is going to start without me having any kind of representation at all. So what's true? The Lord Chief Justice wasn't making it all up. If this guy's so rich, why can't he afford a good lawyer? I'm terribly sorry to have to ask this, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Blustering blazes, do yous? Do yous not know who I am? Me? One of London's biggest names? No, sorry. We've only just arrived in the city, you see. Ah, I see. Suppose that ain't altogether impossible. Well, just to the next Hyde Park there in the center of London is another beautiful park. Sorry, a park? What? 'Tis called McGilded Park, full of blossom flowers in the spring and singing birds and whatnot. I donated to the city, so I did. An entire park in central London. This guy's crazy. City of Smiles, that's my vision of London. There's nothing Magnus McGilded couldn't do for the city and its queer old people. That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. Ah, but now they've got the gall to say I'm good for nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What is the matter with London police, I ask you? Huh. Alright, don't pass out. Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves, while the gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. Ha! Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourself in our hands, we'll do our best. What was I after saying, you daft idiot? I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here, sorry. I know what you're thinking. This Chancellor of a fella claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? That's exactly what I was asking. Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well? Well? Not at all, although it is a little strange, to be honest. Why you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. Sorry, did he just say Reaper? Aye, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Barack Vance. Oh no. You know when we have a name with a Van in the middle? We're gonna have some hell to come up. Von Zeeks, he's the prosecutor. The prosecutor is the Grim Reaper. It's a hell of a name to have if you're... When the Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused the sacrificial lambs. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been in the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. What? So it's reached a desperate situation, where there's no one willing to stand in the defense against the fella at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness. Lord Barack von Zeeks. He must be Tell it to the prosecutor then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madame. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned and his counsel. Please make your way into the courtroom. The trial is about to begin. His counsel, that would be me. Oh, 'tis time. Well then, fella, don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Until you showed your face here, I'd made up my mind, so I had. Sorry? I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? But then you made an appearance, a student of law, wouldn't you know? 'Tis no accident, I can assure you of that. 'Tis fate. So don't get cold feet now, please. I literally know nothing about the case, or about this man who stands accused. In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Mr. Naruhodo, the man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Kazuma would never have allowed to happen. Counsel for the defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. I'll be right there. It's happening then. My first trial in a British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. Same here. Same here. I like the flame, man. We looking like an Elite Four chamber in Pokemon. Holy smokes. And we have what looks like a jury in front. So this is the highest court in Great Britain, the Old Bailey. The centuries of history of this place is palpable, isn't it? It's so different from the Supreme Court of Japan. It feels both imposing and serene at the same time. The atmosphere almost makes words redundant. Whatever the country, determining a person's guilt or innocence is always a solemn affair. We're also on the right side, which is a little weird. May I say something, Naruhodo? Oh, yes, what? Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again. I know, but I just can't help it. You know, if they ever do a Marvel vs. Capcom... Marvel vs. Capcom 3 remake or something like that, I want them alongside Phoenix Wright to have this guy. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus von McGilded. I now call upon the counsel of the prosecution and the defense to declare their willingness to proceed. Prosecution is fully prepared. He looks like a bat. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Counsel for the defense. You appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. But he asked that his defense was ready, and I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. And Hob had a guilty, I said. Hello, Derpy. Those eyes please me, Nipponese. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They'd run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. A cold shiver just ran down my spine, all the way to the tips of my toes. Now, Mr. McGilded. Yes, my lord. You stand accused of murder, a capital offense. You can be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? As I've always said, my lord, it is a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fellow is a student from some little island, off in the Far East. It is not a British way to ignore the dangers of ye-self and give those less fortunate a fair chance. I'd like to take that act of chivalry to the great British Empire proud. Listen to Mr. McGilded. What a fine gentleman London has, isn't it? Do you hear that he donated £5,000 to the government the other day? Mother, please may we go play in McGilded Park. The park is real? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and a most laudable sentiment. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly to remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed? Oh, the jury's up front. Yes, my lord, if the task is to send Roderick to the gallows where they belong, I'm more than ready. At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Oh, this girl. Ha! Any criminals here will be soon wishing they'd never set eyes on me. I like this guy. I feel a chill. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. There's 3 members of the jury. Oh, there's an old lady. The jury, yes. That's something we don't have in Japan. Oh, my favorite's the girl in the typewriter. That's something we don't have in Japan yet. Oh, that's right. I've only ever read about it. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge passes sentence according to law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. The defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly do jurors give their verdict? That I don't know, but I'm sure it will become clear as the trial progresses. Yes. Prosecutor Van Zieks, my lord, it's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd renounced your fame. I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. So what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstances which the court should be aware? Oh, this guy's totally Edgeworth. I leave that to your imagination, my lord. So the Reaper has been out of action for 5 years. Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo. As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. You must be the only ones in here who aren't aware. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10:10. The victim was the maker of building bricks known in the community as the Thrice-Fired Mason. Sorry? Thrice-Fired? He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. Stabbed in the front, the victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service in the streets of London at the time. A dagger that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Here's the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard. Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that as a photograph as evidence. The autopsy report has been entered into the court record. We're going to look at that real quick. Photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. We're going to look at that too. And one further item of evidence. We don't need to look at that, but... internal hemorrhaging. So eventually, the knife was actually just in him. Now I'm not seeing too much that's arousing my suspicions here. His mini glass is a hat. I don't see anything on his neck or anything else that lets me know about foul play. The only thing is the torn button that I'm seeing here. It's too early for you to go to bed. Dude, it's 12:34 p.m. It's too late for you. And one further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well. And these are bloodstained on the right hand. Good lord. Is that blood, Counsel? Yes, my lord. Seized by a policeman who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGilden's gloves had blood on them? Dude got stabbed, man. Stabbed to death. Yes, I stabbed once and hemorrhaged. I will accept these as evidence as well. The defendant's leather gloves have been entered into the court record. How'd I get into this? I'm backed into a corner before I even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2. Obviously, one of those passengers was deceased brickmaker Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded. Huh, well, rather damning circumstances to say the least. Defendant, what say you? Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilded, to be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening, but whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness and I always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? 'Tis the motion of the carriage, my lord. So it is, and when I opened my eyes again, 'twas a desperate sight before me, the body of a man I'd never laid eyes on before me in life. 8:30 there for Derpy? 10:35 for Shiro? Damn. Now I ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I was about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give that man a hand. The blood that got at the gloves then, after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, that statement of the driver's is only the beginning. What? That's not all of it? There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. This game is going to be amazing if all the jurors are different each time. Order, order, order. When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage, and there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Huh. Who's going to tell him? Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. Your wish is my command. Is it going to be the same guys every time? Bailiff, bring in the witnesses at once. Witnesses, your names and occupations. My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay, I'm a banker in the city. My name's First. Lady First. Ladies first? What is in his hat? I need to know. I make hats for gents, so let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were an omnibus and witness to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Quite right. Yes, sir. That's right, sir. Well, we're in London, man. Top hats are the common thing. Okay. But I want something. I want like a hamster to be in the hat. Let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. Okay, we're gonna have a lot to go through here. Witness testimony. What the witnesses saw. We need to check out the gloves here. So the gloves are on the right hand. The bloodied part is on the right hand. That's weird. Why is there blood? Because it was internal hemorrhaging. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had a few customers. I remember it well. The victim and man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Okay. Then, out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right. He stabbed him. I screamed. I did. I couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. So he didn't see it directly. We have problems. How in the fuck did the other two see it if he was still fucking driving? Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident at the omnibus in which their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, counsel. Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what had happened? There's no way they could have had seen the inside of a moving carriage. Thank you. Oh no. How quaint. I read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations is a good century behind our own. But you're here in London yourself, and you're really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend, have you ever traveled in an omnibus? We haven't even seen the omnibus. Well, no. We not only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves the actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean, the actual scene? How? A carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yes. The omnibus in which the bloody crime took place is here today, in this very building. Oh, here. What? The entire carriage? Bailiff, bring forth this stricken omnibus. Well, at least he's being kind of nice. He could have let us not see it. They brought the omnibus in there. Oh, no, this is new. So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Great Britain's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. Four passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin and another on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of the omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests that there is a skylight on the roof, allowing the view of the interior from the seats above. Ah, skylight. Oh. The penny drops at the last, I see. Those 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats in the omnibus when the murder took place. That is how they came to witness the grim incident. Throughout the skylight. Interesting. Well, counsel, this is a first. In my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought to the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well, I see no reason why not. This omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. Can I look in it? I can't believe it. The entire crime scene entered as evidence. Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I could help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Let us continue with the proceedings then. Your cross-examination, counsel. Pray, don't expect this Nipponese straight to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination's rights. Alright, my first cross-examination in British court. Focus. You're doing this, okay? Focus. Phoenix Wright Omnibus? So the guy rides up here. The 2 up top. The ladder comes on the back of the carriage. Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Ah, the scene of a murder. It's horrible. Ah, that's a poster for the great exhibition that's due to start 6 months from now. There's a lot of focus being drawn on the Crystal Tower. The centerpiece of the whole exposition. Oh, the Crystal Tower is under construction already, I believe. People all over London must be fizzling with excitement at the prospect of such a grand event. That blood that's soaked to the seat. The victims, obviously. Yes, and that seat would be clearly visible from the roof deck. Would you really stab someone in full view of the other passengers like that, I wonder? Well, it was after dark, and there was a lamp in here, so perhaps the culprit couldn't see anything outside through the skylight. Which makes you look, whatever way you look at it, doesn't seem like it was a planned attack. See, it looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And only just wide enough for two gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Of course, English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the roof deck, so she would have to be seated here. A woman in kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? So the big thing is you have to be seated in the back to see. We're going to press a couple statements first, though.
Hold it!
Yes, I think it was sometime after 10, wasn't it? Yes. That's right, sir, yes. Ever so cold it was. Freezing, in fact. And you had 4 passengers on board at the time, is that correct? Yes, that's right, sir. Not all traveling in the same parts of the bus, of course, no. And there were no other passengers when the incident took place. No one alighted, for example. You're quite right, sir. No other passengers like that, no, none. I like how you can look at them. This guy's just staring right at him, though. Holy crap. So nobody fled the scene of the crime, then. I'd say the boss insists on running he does every evening, the last bus of the day. But I do wonder sometimes if it's altogether worthwhile, yes. Sorry to say. What do you mean by that? Well, with it being so cold and everything, and only making it 20 pence on the run, you see. Yes, I spend that much at the pub on the way home just trying to warm up again. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. How do you know this?
Hold it!
And you saw them through the skylight in the roof of the carriage. That's right. When you sit up on the top deck, the window's right there at your feet. There was a lamp on the inside, so I had a pretty good view. The two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. But there's not a shred of doubt in my mind that it was just Mr. McGildred. How can you be so sure? Well, how can I put it politely? McGildred is a gentleman of rather small stature. I couldn't have mistaken him for anyone else. Let's not forget that when the vehicle came to a halt, the only people inside the enclosed cabin were the deceased Mason and Mr. McGildred. There's no room for doubt here. I really wish there was. Oh, there will be. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. With what hand?
Hold it!
You actually saw the exact moment it happened. Didn't I already testify to that? Or are fair dinkum hard-working city bankers not considered trustworthy these days? Oh, no. I didn't mean that. This is no good. I've really got his back up. Perhaps you could just tell us what you saw in a little more detail, if that's My lord. Huh? Juror number 3? What's the meaning of this? My mind is made up, my lord. Completely and utterly made up. Made up about what? I don't like the stinking rich. Never have. They've always up to something other than they shouldn't be. Every one of them. And that little leprechaun of a man is no exception. Well, he can't fool me. What the fuck? There's no point in wasting time listening to any more of this. This is my opinion on the matter anyway. What is this mechanic? This is weird. Precisely what I was about to say. Not you, oh. As the foreman of the jury, it's my duty to set an example for my fellow jurors. What the? What is happening here? Let me see. Ah, yes, it seems that's how the members of the jury give their verdicts. With fire. Apparently, yes. Oh, the jury can... Wait. So is it possible I could fuck up a case just by pressing the wrong option at the wrong time? White for innocent, black for guilty. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice, as we saw a moment ago. So if those enormous scales fall completely to the black side, does that mean... Let's do our very best to make sure that doesn't happen. But I mean, like, this is weirder. I feel like I could die for no reason. Very well, the court acknowledges the change in the jury's stance. Counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. This isn't good. Like, if I pointlessly press... That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed I did. Couldn't help it.
Hold it!
How do you know? He stabbed him, you say, and you were sitting up on the roof deck. Where were you? Yes, that's right, sir. I was up on the roof seats. I remember seeing a little green gent sitting next to the fellow who was stabbed. I've been thinking about the new hat design, you see, so I was just gazing absent-mindedly around. But then I happened to look down through the skylight. It was sticking right out from his belly, that huge, great knife. Grim sight indeed. Ah, that didn't help me at all. She's cleaning! The jury, it looks like they're even more convinced. She's typing faster than they were before. That appears to have made everyone more dubious of Mr. McGill telling the truth. If only we had some evidence as to counter their suspicions. Mr. First. Oh, yes, sir. Is this the knife you saw? Oh, good grief, yes, that's it. The very one, sir. Is that... Yes, counsel, this is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. That is the blade of considerable size, counsel. It is, and furthermore, the scabbard is embezzled and prominently with a certain initial. The letter M, which seems oddly familiar. Please, no. M for Magnus, perhaps. Or McGilded, possibly. Take your pick. Seems particular big name in London made a magnificent mistake. It could also belong to the Mason himself.
Objection!
But there are M's everywhere. Like yes. Like in Mason.
Objection!
Oh, that was a good objection. The blade is far too extravagant for a poor brickmaker to have owned. No, this weapon of murder almost certainly belongs to the accused. Ah. Not conclusive, but certainly compelling, counsel. The murder weapon has been entered into the court record. My lord, if you'll forgive the interruption. Ah, juror number 2. Go on. Mr. McGill is a pillar of society and a gentleman's word should be sacrosanct. However, those of us in service know we must accept hard truths. Wait, what are you about to do? Dispose of the rubbish. This is unreal. I like this. I don't wish to cause offense, but I do like to eradicate all traces of filth and grime. Made.